Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. And this just might be the most exciting unboxing I ever released on this channel. I mean, have you ever seen a Rubik's Cube come with its own leather carrying handle? Now, I think the box was taped shut just for shipping purposes, but oh yeah, you bet it opens magnetically. Now let's see what is inside. This is the brand new MoYu 21x21, the biggest N-by-N puzzle to ever be mass produced. And not only is this the highest order puzzle I've ever held in my hands, but it's also the most complex, the heaviest, and the most expensive by a huge margin. So let me tell you all about it. Now, the first big important detail is that this is not my cube for me to keep. Instead, thecubicle.com generously sent over their cube for me to check out and make a few videos on. So if you haven't already, definitely go check out their store. They're amazing. They made this video possible. And you can use discount code Z3Cubing for 5% off anything. Okay, now where do I even start with this thing? How about a size comparison with my main 3x3? Okay, I'm kidding. This is my main 3x3. At 56 millimeters, it just doesn't even compare to the 150 millimeters of the 21x21. Like my current biggest cube, the 13x13, it's pretty big, but you can at least wrap your fingers around it and hold it in one hand. Whereas this cube, you don't even have a chance of picking it up like that. You have to use both hands, and even then, it's still a bit of a struggle. If you want a good comparison, stack up three 50mm 2x2s and try holding them like this. It's pretty much impossible. Except even if your hand was big enough, you probably wouldn't be able to pick it up anyway because of this cube's weight. This thing weighs over 3 kilograms or a massive 7 pounds. That's about the same as 4 of these 13x13s, which are not light, or about 50 GAN 11M Pros, or over 300 of my new world's lightest paper 3x3s. Stay subscribed so you don't miss that one. Oh yeah, and of course it comes just in stickerless because I sure wouldn't want to put on 2,500 stickers, and it looks like just your standard MoYu shades. Oh, and also, it has a removable logo sticker, which I definitely appreciate, even though I'm not allowed to remove it. Okay, it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's do some first turns. It looks like the cubicle has kindly put it into a checkerboard pattern for us, so we don't have to do that. Let's just start undoing it. Alright, I guess what kind of stands out to me is that it feels kind of tight, as if there has to be like the world's largest clamping force just to hold all these pieces together. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but yeah, that definitely makes sense. It's a testament to how much cube design has improved over the years, but even compared to something like a V-Cube 7, I would still call the turning of this cube smoother than that. Man, 7 pounds. It's hard to get across just how heavy this thing feels in your hands. I don't think it's even worth it to try and hold it while you're doing a turn. I think we're probably better off just always having it sitting on the table and then just sort of turning the upper layer like this. The layers definitely get easier to turn as you get closer to the outside of the cube. I guess there's just less weight pushing against them. And now let's do an important test. How hard is it to realign the layers when we want to start doing a different turn on a different axis? So let's kind of wiggle the layer here, and oh, that was actually super easy. So that was one of the things that older big cubes really struggled with, but yeah, I'm actually really surprised at how easy it was to switch between two different layers. I wasn't quite sure that was going to be the case because one thing I don't quite like about this cube is that it is slightly pillowed, which of course makes it harder to just set it down on the table and make it all flat. But I guess that's probably a trade-off for being able to handle the cube. If it had totally sharp corners, then it would probably be a lot more uncomfortable to hold in your hands. And also, it would make these big fat outer layers that you see on all big cubes have to be even bigger. The reason they're like this, by the way, isn't just to help with the turning, although I'm sure it would help if you're just doing like a 3x3 algorithm, but it's actually just to make the mechanism possible. In particular, these corner pieces wouldn't be able to hang on to the rest of the cube without some sort of combination of pillowing or fattening of the edge pieces. So that's why we're stuck with disproportionate big cubes. But wow, have a look at this puzzle while solved. It really just sticks out how many little tiny centers there are. The product page says over 2,700 pieces, and that's compared to 27 pieces on a 3x3, over 100 times more. And speaking of disproportionate outer layers, take a look at how skinny these edge pieces are. They're like the same length or even longer than a piece on a 3x3, but in terms of width, it looks like you could fit, more than 3 of them for every 3x3 piece. In fact, if you just line up the entire width of a 3x3 along the cube like this, it looks like you could fit 11 21x21 layers inside the width of a standard cube. Imagine holding an 11x11 in your hands. That's the size of a normal 3x3. That's just how indescribably tiny these pieces are. But yeah, that's just how it is with the world's biggest and most expensive N-by-N puzzle. Except that that statement isn't exactly true, because what this actually is the world's biggest mass-produced Rubik's Cube. As in, they have a factory where they're able to make many of these at a time. That's in contrast to the 3D printing and manual labor that it took to make the 22x22 and the 33x33, the only bigger Rubik's Cubes. So as impressive as those cubes are, they're not made by a company, so you can't really buy them. They're just totally one-offs, and because the plastic is 3D printed, they actually turn a lot worse than this puzzle right here. Actually, I think they did put the 33x33 up for sale, but it's for something crazy like over $15,000. Oh yeah, this cube, by the way, costs just $1,500. Sounds like a great deal now, doesn't it? You can even get $75 off at thecubicle.com with discount code Z3Cubing. Anyway, it's finally time for my favorite part of the video, where I get to show you some awesome looking patterns on what is now the biggest cube you can possibly do them on. We already saw the checkerboard pattern, of course, courtesy of the cubicle. So let's start out with another basic pattern involving some dots. Oh yeah, and stick around because you don't want to miss what I'm going to do at the end of the video. Alright, this has been way more difficult and time consuming than I was expecting. The turning was way more catchier than what I showed you before, I guess just because this pattern requires switching back and forth between different axes, doing one layer at a time and just switching constantly, which let's just say is not this cube's strong suit. You had to be very, very patient with it, but I think it was worth it. This looks pretty incredible. Just look at all these pretty dots we ended up with. Christmas colors, I guess. But now let's go ahead and undo this pattern, start over with a blank cube, and try out something a little bit more literal. And ta-da! It's 21x21ception. Look at that. I like it. So if you guys don't know, you can basically use the dots pattern, going over with one layer, up with another layer, and then undoing in the same order. You can do that on any arbitrary centerpiece or group of centerpieces, and it'll make that pattern show up all around the cube. And so that's basically what I did with a whole bunch of different little sets of pieces. And yeah, that gave me 6 new 21x21s, although some of them are mirrored. Anyway, let's finally move on to my favorite pattern of all time, the super flip. And here it is, the ultimate big cube pattern involving flipping every single edge on the cube on the outer layer, followed by flipping every edge on the next layer down, all the way down to the inner layer, resulting in this amazing sort of interwoven checkering of pieces for every pair of adjacent colors on the cube. It just looks so incredible. It's one of the simplest patterns there is, just a lot of repetition, but it results in my opinion, the coolest looking pattern on any big cube. And this is almost certainly the biggest cube it's ever been done on, which makes me one of the very first people to do the biggest ever super flip pattern. But yeah, pretty patterns are cool and all, but you know what's even more insane? Scrambling up and then solving a 21x21 Rubik's Cube. That's right, we're doing it right now. Oh my gosh, this just feels so wrong. There's just so much order here that I'm just destroying. And here we go. This monster of a cube has now been fully scrambled. You know, this reminds me of the non-cuber comment of, oh look, that cube has so many different colors. It kind of does look like it, but no, it really only has 6. Now you may be thinking, there's not enough time left in this video for you to solve it, and that's because, very important announcement, I'm actually going to be solving it live on my channel. So if you're watching this video on the day it comes out, Saturday, September 25th, 2021, then tomorrow, on Sunday the 26th, tune into my channel at noon Mountain Time. That's 11 a.m. on the west coast of the US, 2 p.m. on the east coast of the US, or 7 p.m. in Western Europe. Just go to my channel or your subscription feed, hopefully, and you should see it show up a few hours ahead of time. It's going to take a lot of hours, so it should be pretty laid back. And if it's past September 2021, then I'll link the live stream down below so you can still watch it. There should also be a time-lapse of the solve coming out soon afterward. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for this incredible unboxing video. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did, but that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.